turn this up a little bit. Okay. So, we open on Kilios, also known by many locals and non-locals as the Bristling City, for multiple reasons. The most obvious one is the massive, towering, like, almost black obelisk skyscrapers that dot the skyline against the backdrop of the lake, that tower over factories that belt smoke in the air. This is extremely the Blade Runner city. This is extremely that kind of, like, we had Japanese cyberpunk over in Tumbledown with like neon everywhere, but this is the super grimy American cyberpunk city where it's just like machines and factories and like rain and people getting punched by police in dark alleyways, etc. It's not a great place to live. The reason why it's like this is because it's extremely close to the front, as you can see on the map. And it is a major, both like, not exactly a defensive bastion, because it's not blocking any passes or anything like that, and also airships exist, so that doesn't super matter. But it is like a primary, there's like a lot of military bases surrounding it. It's kind of a primary, like, Gestalt production site, as I believe is mentioned. House Theophrastus is the owner of Arcana Unlimited, the mech company that Horaeus mostly uses, and so they make a lot of them here. And yeah, that's the other reason, is because it is because it is close to the front, and because it is such a like heavy, they like need so much stuff to be constantly made. They really do not treat their labor force well. They're just constantly like, make more, and if you like go against any of our various laws built around just forcing you to make more stuff for us, we're gonna really crack down to make sure that you don't like rebel against what we're trying to do here. It's very what's the term for when a place is like, we need to put all social power towards like the military? It's like what America was in the 40s.
Military-industrial complex?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that was a term yet in the 40s.
Well, that's the only word I can think of.
There's a word for it that's like...
Caro posted dictatorship, but is stinky and wrong, like usual.
No, because it's what... It was like the... It's like some kind of... Is it just the war mentality? No. Whatever, it's fine. It's that thing. Everyone knows that thing. We learned about it in school. All those factories making bullets and Rosie the Riveter and shit. And I have this cool image for it, too. Let's drag us over to Labarum. This is, oh, who is this by? I guess it doesn't super matter, but I do like to credit artists when I can. This is by... I don't have it up. While I look for it, we, like, zoom in on the city, and, like, the camera acts as if it's going towards the big towers, but then it suddenly, like, pans down to, like, kind of the outskirts, where there's just, like, a, like, shitty compound that has, like, cement walls with, like, barbed wire along the top, and also, I think it's like half cement walls, half fencing. Like, they could only afford the walls to be so high, and then the rest is taken up with fencing. And then there's barbed wire. There are some gestalts, like, silhouetted in the pouring rain, just like water dripping off of them, standing, like, on the cement in the middle of this compound. There are, like, there's a couple hangars, and there's, like, dilapidated is a strong word, but there's a building that's seen better days that is like, has like a hangar on the bottom and then like a regular kind of building that could be a house, question mark, on the top. Like some stores, you know, the people who own the store like live above it, that kind of deal. And we zoom in through the window, and in one of those windows is Adea. What's Adea's room look like? She hasn't been here for very long, but has she done anything to like differentiate it at all, or is it just like bare bones?
There's a folding chair in front of a folding desk with a paper towel on it that has some residual crumbs from some bread and cheese she was eating, and a glass of half-drank water. And she's very frustrated trying to do what she can with the makeup she has access to, like hunched
I mean,
down.
she can. I'm sure she can afford. Yeah, no, she can afford makeup.
Hunched down in front of a too small mirror that is very much not the armoire she had back at Pub Feed.
I think the reason she can afford makeup is because Adea is now technically a member of the Bannerless. Because that is who you and Constant are hanging out with at the moment, and this is their compound. I think you haven't obviously, or I don't know, maybe you have, probably not. You probably haven't done anything in a mech. But there's been like, there have been like various like not administrative, but like what would you actually say Adea is good at outside of mech piloting and punching people in the face?
Training people to pilot mechs and punch people in the face.
Yeah, I like that actually. I think that's actually kind of fun, especially regarding like various plans that are in the works from Constant and Imparty. You teaching these like kind of stuck-up knights to like fight a little dirtier is kind of great. If that sounds good to you.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, cool. And yeah, among them is Ezra and Fra, if you remember from that whole adventure that you had the picnic with.
Yep. Is Capatula there?
Yeah, Capatula's here also. All of the Bannerless are here. I was gonna ask, because this is we don't have a hard time limit, and this is a chiller session. I don't get to do the thing I normally like to do, which is ask players to add to things a little bit. What do you think? What are some like things Adea has noticed about this city while she's living here?
Let me think. What would be some good similarities between the negatives of this place and the negatives of is it
Of Labarum?
Fort Galate?
Oh, of you're talking more about like the work culture of
Yeah,
the Bannerless compared to Clout.
definitely. Like, is there? So like, there's probably not much of an underground here, right?
I think there is one, but it's like in the way that like even fascist dictatorships have like black markets and stuff that they like tolerate, but do like raids every once in a while to show who's really still the boss. But like what would be there is very like discreet and fearful. So I don't know if Adea would even have encountered it.
Okay. What's about this city?
I was gonna say, I think like Adea may actually be more comfortable. The Devil's Indentured have always been. I mean, they're mech pilots, and mech pilots get a lot of leeway, as I've discussed about before in this setting. But like, Labarum military code of conduct is fairly strict in general. Like, you're expected to have a certain amount of not poise, but like, you know what I mean. Discipline, that's the word.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a mercenary group. And while I think Imparty has been trying to impart more of that onto this ragtag bunch, it is still a ragtag bunch, and is honestly more similar to the Devil's Indentured and probably Adea's general attitude than like the broader like military people that she would have been interacting with back in Labarum.
Okay, so does this place have debates like this city? Like, would there be like these like kind of sophisticated bourgeois like
Not this city. I could see
Okay.
that in Port Lumen. I could even see that in Cetos. Killian is not. He's very brunt. Not brunt. Words are failing me tonight. I'm sorry.
You're good.
He's very
Blunt.
Yes, blunt.
One letter away.
Yep. He doesn't care about appearances.
Okay.
He feels as if he is running the city as efficiently as possible. Obviously, you and I know that if you want to have a labor force, you will get better work out of them if they have fun and recreation and can take breaks. But he is more trying to treat this as a machine to get the most material out of. And so it kind of sucks here.
Like I said, probably a while.
Hmm?
I clearly lied. I'm sorry. Ashen's coming up.
Oh, okay.
Like New Year's? So the so this is more like you asking me what like aspects of this city Adea has probably been involved with.
Yeah.
So as a mech pilot, she's definitely kept her head lower than she normally does. And she's trying to stay on Constance's good side. So I think that she is probably not burning anything down, but she is hosting parties.
Interesting.
Like parties that the plan is always to be small, but they always get interrupted and broken up because they
Okay.
don't stay small.
Like at the
No,
Bannerless HQ,
no,
or like is
no,
she like making
absolutely
friends
not
with
at the
people?
I think
'Cause that's
she's
great.
she's bringing alcohol to like break stations and work yards, like as the days are coming to a close, and
Oh,
she's interfacing with the people here.
I have a thought. What if there's like the MCL is in here, and like most like your average Joe wouldn't have access to a mech anyway. But what if there's like a local like regular wrestling or like boxing venue that a lot of the people around here like to go hang out with?
Can that be like the main draw of
Hang
the
out at?
parties?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to give you here is like a way.
Alright, yeah.
Like if Adea met people through there, I like that. What's her?
Perfect.
Is she just lonely? Like, what's her MO with doing this?
Well, like I said, a big part of this is getting a feel for Haraeth,
Yeah.
and also like this is her way of coping with things. Like she gets to punch, so she's doing okay. That said, she's also like really deliberately thinking through how she wants to proceed vocally with the people that that's going to matter to, such as Constant and Shone and Klaus. And she doesn't really know how to get in touch with the other two.
Yeah, I think... Constant would be able to get you aligned to Klaus.
But does he want to?
They.
Do they want to?
I guess, like, we should probably have that conversation. If you want to just jump right into it, like, figuring out where Adea and Klaus are at with each other.
You mean Constant?
Did I say Klaus?
You said Klaus.
Adea and Constant are with each other would probably be a good thing.
Perfect.
What you do?
Drunk Wyatt hours.
I'm not drunk. This is just how I always am in terms of words being hard.
I know, I'm giving you shit.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm good with that.
So is this a flashback, or have you been, like, not super approaching Constant with stuff?
This is not a flashback. Yeah, this is something that has been sitting in Adea's mind.
Okay.
I want to say, like, the interactions she's had with Constant thus far have been very deliberately not pointing to the fact that, like, he's probably either alive because of her, or what she did made it a lot easier for them to stay alive. Excuse me. And she's not drawing basically any attention to that. Because she doesn't want that to be a point of tension. Like, she wants an even playing field.
Yeah.
So, it's been pretty amicable. It like we came up with the grocery shopping and
yes,
and maybe like not cooking together, but coexisting in a way that, like, she's probably even a little less boisterous than usual because the bannerless are all, like, kind of her people. So she's a little bit of the bridging chain link to allow Constant some form of, like, normalcy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah.
So I think. So do you go looking for Constant?
I think that probably a few days ago, Adea approached them and made clear her intention that she wanted to have this conversation and made an appointment with him.
Okay. That sounds good. Sorry, give me 1 second. My eyes are super itchy. I'm just gonna go fix that.
Can we take like 10 minutes? Guess not. My eyes are super itchy.
That's a little bit of vindication.
It just means Ashton doesn't get anything from me tonight. He asked me if I wanted to join a one-shot that him and Tiffany's family wanted to play while they're out here. And I was like, yeah, sure. And today is that they've been out here for 6 days, and today is like the 11th session of this quote-unquote one-shot. And it's on top of all the other D&D I'm playing. It's just so fucking much.
That's a little bit of vindication for me. David asking, you beat the game at level 20, Christ, how? That feels a little good. I'll give you that.
Back. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Okay. So, you go talk to Constant in their office.
This is what she was doing the makeup for.
That makes sense. It's not a great office. I think you've been in here before.
I think Adea helped them set it up.
I like that. It's like there's
She
like a shitty like IKEA desk basically. Um like a yeah, like an empty bookshelf. um an empty bookshelf probably with like a couple things like sitting on it. Probably some files actually. Yeah, there's like one shelf of it has like a couple file folders.
Yeah,
Um
but all the wood is the same, and the
mhm.
color scheme is nice, and so it's a
Yeah.
shitty office, but it's a nicely interior decorated
Yeah.
shitty office.
And when you come in, they are like they aren't late, and it's just like whatever they were doing has gone long, because they are talking to Imparty, um and they are like sitting on the front of their desk, and Imparty is like sitting in like sitting in like the big like guest chair. Imparty is like this boulder of a man. He's like older. His hair's like going gray, and he's balding slightly, and like he's got the whole like muscle going onto fat situation. He's like very, very like well dressed. He clearly kept a lot of his wardrobe from better times when he was in charge of the knights. He probably wasn't in. He probably wasn't all the way up. But he was a prominent member, and he was the one that led this mutiny. He, Mutiny isn't quite the right word. They're more like conscientious objectors, but he was the one that is the reason why these knights all left and are houseless and are part of the bannerless. And they two of them are talking animatedly. You catch the tail end of their conversation, and they're talking about like they're going over a thing that you've probably, if not heard them directly talking about it, have heard word around about the sort of things of the sort of way that the two of them are butting heads. Because Imparty basically wants to, as soon as possible, start strategizing and planning for an attack on the like prison facility where they're holding Shown.
Yeah.
And Constant, of course, wants to take this slower. They want to like embed some agents. They've been arguing that we at least need some kind of dropship, which is a thing that the bannerlists don't even have at this point. That it's like we are both undersupplied and undermanned for a task of this magnitude, and if you wish to succeed, you're going to have to listen to me and be patient. And Imparty just like grumbles and says, "Who knows what they're doing to him in there? Not to mention the fact that my knights can't handle staying in this. No offense to the bannerless, but this sty for much longer. It is not good for them. And not to mention how often they and the bannerless, I suppose we are bannerless too, how much they and the original members butt heads against each other. And then like they both like, I think Constant had noticed that you had come in earlier and was like looking at you, and then like Imparty like turns and looks at you as well, and like looks slightly embarrassed, is like, oh, my apologies, I should have known that, I should have remembered that you had another meeting. That is rude of me, I'm sorry, Adea. He stands
I mean,
up.
hey, if this is going late, I'm all fine and good to let it conclude.
We will not get anywhere productive today, Adea. Constant says, like with like a little smirk on their face. And Imparty like huffs and says, "They are probably right."
Adea just like looks down at her hand as she rubs her two fingernails together. All right then.
Do you shake Imparty's hand when he like
On his way out, yeah.
Yeah, he like does the class thing. It's like I truly am sorry. I know
Oh,
meetings
and
are important.
your boys Ezra and Roger did great in the drills today. Just thought you should know.
He nods, pleased, and then says, "Are they still competing?"
Idea like opens her mouth a little bit before squinting and saying, "Should I have not been incentivizing that? I've always thought competition
No,
is
competition is good. The two of them just can get a little heated sometimes. I worry that they may. Well, there's a difference between healthy competition and sabotaging your opponents.
They can't do anything to one another that I can't do to them on my own."
Ha! I believe that.
But I'll keep that in mind for tomorrow.
He nods, and then I think he takes his leave at that point.
All right, Constant, here we go. And she pulls up another chair from the one that Imparty was sitting on. Just kind of opens it, plops down in front of it.
Like Constance sits down on an Party's chair, and they say, "As much as I like to cultivate an air of unapproachability, I actually am not a huge fan of talking to people from behind a desk. At least if it's not a serious. At least if it's a serious conversation."
Yeah, desks kind of suck. I'm
Well, they're useful for
like
holding paper.
so are bookcases, but and she jabs a thumb at the empty one.
He laughs. He like
We don't-
chuckles quietly.
We don't got a lot of that yet. I'm not gonna lie, this has been a long time coming. And
Yes.
I wanted to make sure we both had a lot of time to think about it.
They nod.
You want me to open?
You are the one who wished to speak with me.
She shrugs. Yeah, I suppose that's true. So I've been having some thoughts. And these thoughts started prior even to when we fought in the mountain pass. Goes back to the incident at Fort Noctana. I want to know everything you know from that side. Is that information you're willing to part with?
I am now trying to think of what. Specifically, you mean the Fort Noctana incident?
The bomb that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like lean back and look skyward for a second and say, "Honestly, I think you may know more than me, but I will go through it step by step. We did hear word through my own intelligence operatives and also the broader intelligence run by Intrava, by House Hannes, that the Labarum, I don't do this very often. What was the plural? What was the word for people who live in Labara? It's not like lab. It's not Labaros.
Labradors.
I feel like we figured this out.
I'm just saying, Labradors would be hilarious.
That's not. It would be. That's not. That's not the way it's spelled.
I know. Labaruminiums?
Did I write this in the glossary?
Labarumites?
Labarumites? I guess Labarumites. I'm not a big
I'm not a big fan of it either. But I also
Why'd I
don't
have
think
to
we
do
should dwell
two
on
words
it.
that sound weird when you just add an S to the end? Heraethian sounds alright, but Labaramian sounds terrible.
Liberumians.
Lab-
Wouldn't it be
Labarians?
Wouldn't it be Liberumians?
Labarumians is not. God damn it.
Like I said, we don't got to dwell on it.
The Labarum populace was preparing some kind of experimental weapon. We did not know what it was, but we assumed it was likely to have some connection with the experimental anti-gravitational technology that they had been using recently, and that we had also recently obtained through, well, stealing. So when the warning came that something would happen, I was willing to listen to order the evacuation. It is better to be safe than sorry. And it turned
She
out
holds up a
Percy was
finger.
right. They
You were there?
Yes. And I also knew that the person who ordered, or not who ordered, the person who informed us of the danger was a spy. I had very recently figured out that he was not who he says he was. I do thorough background checks on all of my employees. It had just taken me some time to get around to him. But I was, again, willing to listen, because if there's one thing I know about spies, is that they often prefer to save their own skin when the chips are down. Which is a thing I can rely upon, and I hold nothing against them for it. After that, well, the bomb went off. We were evacuating. I, of course, promoted the spy, so I could keep him closer to me. And I would have continued to do that if your friend hadn't ordered such a... if your friend hadn't caused such a impressive scene to get him back.
Yeah, Eliza. I wasn't sure she had that in her, but you know, accolades where they're due.
She is one to watch. That's for sure. Other than that, well, you know the rest. You captured me and Shone. We came back, etc., etc.
So this is. I'm sorry if it was obvious before. This is the first I'm hearing that you're actually at Nock. It certainly adds another dot to these outlandish theories that I'm trying to ground a little more.
Were you there for... Wait, actually... I guess you can have been, because then you would have known that Constant was there. But I'm fairly sure that you guys... Oh, no! It was from Ruinera's orders, so of course you weren't there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep track of it, don't worry.
Okay, for the video, for anyone who forgot, in Ruinera's orders, it was revealed that one of the major purposes of you bombing that particular fortress was to assassinate Constant Constitution.
So she says, well, now isn't really the time to discuss those theories. Now is the time to discuss what exactly the plan is moving forward. And from what I caught on the tail end of that meeting you were having with, what's his name? Imparty, he's not really inclined towards wisdom, as shown is particularly useful as like a desperation retrieval piece.
He is a honorable man. I would prefer the world be primarily honorable men, women, and other. Prefer the world be filled with such people. But it is not, and so people like me need to step in and perform the actions that to prevent other people like me from abusing such honorable men. Which is to say, I could admire him even if I agree with you.
I guess I hadn't thought about it that way. I guess honor has its place, but something tells me that there's some stuff going on that doesn't line up with Shone being like I don't want this to come across the wrong way.
Speak your piece.
Shone's
I am hard to offend.
Shone is manufactured importance.
That is what nobility is.
And there's a lot of men and women and other poised to die for that manufactured importance.
That is also the purpose of nobility. A rallying point. And it is true that right now the Amberlow house is somewhat lacking in one.
So in terms of what we're going to do, I guess most bluntly put, it's either allow them to kill themselves on this wall or come up with an alternative.
Which is what I am desperately trying to do. I'll
And
admit, I'm enjoying the challenge just a little bit.
I wish I could agree. It's grappling with a lot of
that you don't.
it's grappling with a lot of the things that I've already had on my plate for the past few months, and I can't help but wonder where exactly I fit into this.
You are certainly even more of a black sheep than me here, although you're somehow managing to fit in better than I have. It's impressive, really.
You wouldn't believe how many times I've caught them holding back on the punch right before it hits me. She shakes her head. These people are great, but fuck, I hate them.
They'd smirk at that.
I guess getting you out was such a tunnel visioned thing that I feel like the opportunity to lay the groundwork of the plan to get shown out as well. Kind of one that we left behind. And I also made a few mistakes in regards to the people that I abandoned.
Yes, that was a part of your plan that always confused me, to be honest. You seemed close with your squad mates. To be honest, Adea, you are still somewhat of an enigma to me.
You know what? Let's take this opportunity to take care of that then, because I think answering these questions might help me figure some stuff out too. So ask away. What's mysterious?
You have betrayed your friends and country for very little gain. And there aren't many people I know who would do such a thing.
She thinks about this for a second and says, "Yeah, but that's circumstantial."
Go on.
She purses her lips and just regards him coolly,
Bam.
them for a few minutes while just thinking on the peculiarity of the Tainted Empire and how her relationship with it has kind of transmogrified how she interacts with humans. And she says, "I can't help but steep myself in deliberation so as to convince myself that the delusions of grandeur that I experience have some credence. There is a very large inclination, I feel, that something is not as it appears. And it becomes much clearer the further you zoom out and look at how we got here, how life has become normal from what is frankly a series of incredible miracles.
Ha!
This planet that we're on is
Are you a
from
harmonist, Adea?
I'm not gonna lie, I barely pay attention to the churches, even if my buddy Rev kind of has some close ties to the gun one, the revolver.
he like outright laughs. It's not that kind of revolver. Although
Oh,
they
it's
have made
the
that joke
it's
themselves.
it's the asteroids.
Well, they're
Oh,
moons, actually. But yes.
that makes sense.
It is a religion of cyclicism, in a way. But we're not here to talk about theology. I
Right.
simply brought it up because, well,
So,
not many
zooming
of the churches, but there is some theology amongst the harmonists that I believe you may find interesting. They are interested in similar ideas as you are.
Constant, are you gonna hand me a pamphlet with this? I'm trying to stay on topic here.
This is on topic, but go on.
So, zooming out, Adeo looks at them, and Constant, being the person Constant is, definitely knows that there's something Adea's keeping redacted. She continues, "Something compelled me to take action that wouldn't benefit my personal relationships for the possibility of something that is larger than me. And in that moment, it told me you were a larger player than at least I was in that same moment, and that getting you out would be kind of critical. I didn't tell them because they would have stopped me, Constant. And I would have let them.
To quote a musical that I despise, what you wish to be then is in the room where it happens.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
You are now less of an enigma. That is, I understand that impulse. That is, in part, why I have pushed to the level of prestige and power I once had. It is a heady thing to be able to look down at the movement of whole societies and do your small part in directing that movement.
So, now that we've got the lens out here, outside of this pickle we're in with Shone being in Labarum, behind who knows how many bars, how many walls of concrete, how many pointed guns, what is House Amberlow, what was House Amberlow doing to stop this war before we kidnapped you?
Give me, Wyatt, a moment to think here.
No problem. This is good.
To be honest, we have been mostly on the back foot since it began. It is... Sean, you've met him. He's an idealistic man. He had always believed that building his city close to the border would be a way to reach out to our neighbors, to provide the sort of face of Heraeth. And as such, well, we were the first to be attacked to such an extent. Of course, there are our friends, and they say that with the most irony, to the southwest, who were attacked from the front of the rebels. But the, of course, brunt of the actual invasion was from the Barum. The rebels mostly wish to have their own bit of land, and while there are those among them who want to have the entirety of Heraeth abolished, there are others that, while they may share similar feelings, are wise enough to know that such an undertaking is unlikely, or at least unlikely on their own. Labarum may succeed. But of course, I don't think the rebels want that either.
Idea nods slowly and flicks open her pack of
I
cigarettes.
think they also add, which is a very long way around of me saying that we were at the point where the idea of ending the war was difficult to even comprehend at that point. We were too busy simply trying to hold back the enemy.
Alright, so Idea flicks open the top of her cigarette pack, which is a lot more full than you would expect, given she hasn't been lending nearly as many to Eliza for circumstances that are obvious. And she takes one out and offers one to them.
Sorry, I just noticed
The Hamilton stuff.
I just noticed Fergus adding me. I'm sorry, Fergus. It was literally the only thing that popped into my head, and I just had to go for it. Sometimes brains are like that.
That was great.
But also, oh yeah, no, I think it's funny also, and it is extremely a what are they called? Frickin' antiquity entertainment thing. I bet Labarum frickin' eats Hamilton up.
Wyatt, shut up and continue.
You added me.
Do they take the cigarette?
Yes, they take the cigarette.
Alright. Well, now that
Click,
all the
click
nice stuff
goes
is
the lighter.
now that all the nice stuff has given us this foundation to fall on, if this does come to blows, I implore you don't take this as condescension. But outside of the Shone conflict, which frankly I think you'll be able to figure out on your own, I think what I need to do after that is get you some agency.
They smile and say, "That is what I'm trying to achieve."
Forgive me for saying so. I don't think you're gonna have agency as the person that's gotta do the actual things that are expected of Shone.
I see what you mean.
Maybe it's doing the things that are expected of me. And she kicks her feet up on the desk.
Are you about to tell me that you have distant royal blood or something?
Is that the kind of thing that would matter to you?
Ha! No. Would you like me to begin fabricating something?
She sits up straight. Is that something you can do?
I can attempt to. As you can see from the movements of technically my new head of house, the Haraeth, they don't say the, they say Haraeth's political system is more fragile than we give off. Such is the problem when everything stands upon the shoulders of one person. Or a small family of people, anyway.
Well, let's think about how effective this would actually be. It would give me a much larger foothold in Haraeth, and this is kind of the only place I can operate from given Labarm's attitude, or what it's going to be after they figure out what's happened. Maybe.
There is another potentiality that would be easier.
I was gonna say, maybe we're stuck in a binary here. Maybe there's a bigger picture. But I'll hear your idea.
They smile and say, Haraeth is not at its core, but much of Haraeth is a land of romantics, of people who wish to believe in a reality that is untrue, in nobility, in bravery, in honor. Of course, the people who prop that up know better, and that is, well, that is a problem with our society that we need to work on. But regardless, they may buy a story of, and they smile with amusement, love that bloomed on the battlefield, a daring rescue,
All right. Slow down.
declaration, a secret marriage, perhaps.
Yeah, okay, all right. That came a lot more suddenly than I was expecting. And
I'm speaking, of course, of you and Shone, not you and I.
Adea blushes a bit. Oh. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, of course. Shone's the doer. You're the shadow person. She's just like fumbling. Fucking shifts a bit. Like, all right, you can have your high ground and eat it too.
Adea, if you wish to move in realms of power, this is the sort of things that people like me come up with.
Yeah, you're a real type, all right.
Sincerely, though, if you were Adea von Emberlow, you would have a closer claim to the head of house than Maldividend. And we would
So
have to
there is-
fabricate very little.
There is a piece I haven't brought up yet that does leave me a little intrigued, and I'd like your insights.
They nod.
Before, specifically the morning before the thing happened, we got a call. And I've kicked myself every night since for not being the one to take it. But it was from the man that kidnapped our commanding officer.
Klaus von Theophrastus.
Yeah, tell me a bit about that son of a bitch.
If you wish to be in the room where it happens, I am thinking more and more these days that it is the room that he is in. That man is making moves. He was a nobody up until the last few years. Well, as nobody as one can be as a son of one of the most powerful houses in the nation. But he was the sort of... Have you ever heard of the phrase, the heir and the spare?
Yeah, Idea lies.
Well, of course, Sita is the heir and Killian is the spare. And once a family of nobility begins to have more children than that, they matter less.
Idea just like very, very subtly Pikachu faces as she realizes it's H-E-I-R and not A-I-R.
Well, if I said unfortunate, I would be lying. The recent circumstances relating to Bloodlet von Uberstern are enough to be... They don't say enough to be, they say are, of course, emblematic of that. They threw their own son under the bus to save face. Because he did not matter. It's the only
He was
ones
the
that
spare.
mattered. He was not even the spare. The spare needs to be trained. The point that I am making is that I believe Klaus, as the third, must have for a long time been harboring a certain degree of resentment. And it now appears that he is attempting to seize the power that was denied to him.
Heavens.
There are wheels turning under the surface of Heraeth. I believe by the end of this war, we as a nation will have changed irrevocably. You and I could have a part in that too, alongside Klaus, if that is what you were looking for. But we would need to move both quickly and intelligently.
And there's a real big roadblock that's probably gonna kick itself up in the way. Kind of in line with our concerns about the Shone rescue operation, or lack thereof. There is a reason that, you'll forgive my discretion, I'm not going to completely divulge, that I think the bar might have the reason to come looking for me. You know, in the shooty way that they look for people.
Well, you are a potential lead to a rather important member of House Amberlow. And they smile. I have always expected that people may come after us. I have contingencies in place for such a thing.
Just to hint at it, she says, I think that might even be taking a backseat to what I'm talking about.
They
And
tilt their head.
you must have seen what I was piloting.
Ah, your strange magma gestalt?
This isn't something we talked about much back at PubFeed, but whenever I needed to make repairs to that, we got unmarked shipments in cargo containers that I couldn't have opened myself if you paid me to.
Yes. Recently, House Theophrastus stole such a cargo container, and they have not revealed its contents, at least not to a extent that I would be able to get a hold of that information. But whatever it is, it does seem like a big deal. If you know more about it, I would be eager to hear.
Adea like takes a big inhale and then like only lets half of it out as a sigh as she just looks at Constant,
They take a drag of the cigarette that you gave them.
clearly just desperately really wanting Constant to ask the question, but not being able to bring herself to just say it outright.
I think they do the thing of just leaving an awkward silence and seeing if you fill it.
Adea just starts to grit her teeth. She checks her watch, looks back at Constant.
Adea, you brought it up.
I talked to my Gestalt.
Well, I do... Wait, no, they are also a pilot. Well, I don't do such things myself. I do know such things are not uncommon among pilots. It is not something to be ashamed of, but I
She
don't
sighs
see...
and leans forward and says, my Gestalt talks back.
Ah. I see.
Why
Through
does
what medium?
it's like a computer with an interface that has like this weird
Oh.
computer language in it that I learned from a manual. That's not the point.
They,
Why?
like, sit up slightly and say, your Gestalt has an artificial intelligence.
She opens her mouth and says, if that's what you call it, I don't know.
Well,
But
either that or a strange, anonymous operator of some kind, but that is inefficient, considering lag and such things.
why does a place like Labarum let a person like me have that when I was a criminal?
How did you get a hold of it?
I stole it.
From who?
I stole it from New World Biotech.
Ah.
She just like spins her finger in the air and takes a drag of the cigarette and says, yeah, I remember that thing about the planet being a series of miracles and shit.
I see. They, like, lean back in their chair and take another drag of their cigarette. So you are saying that you are some unwitting member of a bizarre conspiracy surrounding a Gestalt with some kind of either artificial intelligence or biomechanical life.
I'm so thankful that you didn't immediately jump to the schizophrenic, because that's what I would have done in your
Mhm.
place. And yeah, basically all
It
of that.
is a tall. God, what's the fucking metaphor? I was gonna say tall drink to swallow, but that's not it.
Large bite to swallow.
Yeah, large bite to swallow, thank you. It is a large bite to swallow, but I have known you for not too long, but enough to know that, well, clearly it is something that you are embarrassed about. I feel like someone whose mech speaks to them and who believe they were a member of some kind of conspiracy would be slightly more manic about such things. Perhaps not. Perhaps that is unfair of me to conspiracy theorists, but
It's
that is
probably
why
a symptom.
Go
It's
on.
probably a symptom of me just being overconfident.
Well, as long as you recognize that there's a problem, they say, like, jokingly.
Okay, so just to rein all of
I
this in,
truly wish you had taken this Gestalt with you.
I don't see how I could have.
That's fair.
But just to rein this all in, we've talked about a lot here. We've talked about the potentiality of me and Shone manipulating the public interests of the people of Horaeth with some fabricated romance.
Be you and I. Shone is still in prison, of course.
Yes, us fabricating the thing between me and Shone. Yeah.
Yes.
As she trips over herself again, and then there's the potentiality of us getting affiliated with Klaus somehow. The phrasing, the Theophrastus family. That
The phrasing isn't off. It is apparently Old Latin for the voice of God.
hell of a name. Pretty sure mine means lightning wheel. Octire, get it? Just kidding. The and then obviously the plans.
I think they say, and of course mine is about the ever-abiding power of law.
Irony
They
abound.
laugh a little. Sorry, what did you say?
I said irony abound. Underneath all of this, I need to make a demand. And it is that the Devil's Indentured makes it out of this. I saved your life twice, Constant.
That is a fair demand. As I've said, I admire honorable intentions. And I try to support them while treating the world as it is and not deluding myself. I think I may be able to... Well, no. I will do what is in my power to accede to such a demand.
And then...
Accede is the right word, right?
Yeah.
Accede? How do you...
And then we are going to work on getting you and me and
Accede.
Shone and Klaus a lot more of that power.
What will you do with your friends? Just hold on to them, give them some cushy apartment, and visit them once a week? They may not like having such a person such as I be the one to make sure that they get out?
I am going to... First, I'm going to apologize. I don't know how yet, but that's something that I've got to figure out. And second of all, I don't just mean save them. I mean, they were in it with me when we diverted the attention to the bomb that was going to go off. They share all the sentiments I do. We've fought the same things. We've resented the same government that's above us, and we've had to roll with the same punches. And I have no idea what they're dealing with because of my actions. So, if we can keep them intact, they also get a seat at the table. It's not a cushy apartment, but it's what they would want.
If you are certain that they would want to be at the table, they are invited.
She
As
leans
long as
back
they
again.
they hold up a finger. As long as they can prove that they are worthy to be there, I will give them the chance, but I am not, as a rule, a nepotist.
Adea leans back in the chair and says, "Fuck, what was it?" She said, just to be clear, this table may not. It might not be Haraeth.
They raise their eyebrows and say, "Well, I did say that the nation may change
Irrevocably.
irrevocably. But that doesn't seem like it is what you mean."
I guess I'll have to see what Klaus has to say for himself. Either way, unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up, that's me done.
You can't just... I know I often speak around things because I attempt to cultivate an air of mystique. But you can't just do that. What do you mean it may not be Haraeth?
I mean, isn't the clearest way to get rid of a war to at least one like this with two sides? It's to either win or to not literally, but nuke the nations.
You would... Adea, I do not wish to disappear into the mire that is Labarum bureaucracy.
It's not gonna be Labarum either. In fact, I would prefer it to be Haraeth over Labarum. Labarum's kind of scared me. They gotta go.
Good, I was worried for a moment.
And don't. That's my bad.
Well, I do think their philosophy is hopelessly naive. There is, of course, the third option.
Adea waits for them to continue.
Realizing that it isn't obvious. I guess there are 4 factions. They say I am not speaking of Tatterdemalion. We could... It would be difficult, but if we could somehow give in to the demands of the free people, and yet by flooding them with so many other people that don't believe in the sort of ideology, I suppose, that one must hold in order to make their nation work, it would topple, and something even more different would emerge.
It's not a thought I'd entertained, but this metaphorical table we've talked about is we'd probably need all the minds present in order to even conceivably have this conversation.
They nod.
My bad for the ambiguity. She places her hand against her chest, kind of apologetically, as to what I
We
had just said.
Not that I don't like long-term plans, but we may be thinking slightly too long-term.
Listen, I don't know how long I'm gonna have you, Constant, and I needed these things to be said.
Well, it's not as if I'm about to keel over. Unless you're
And
planning on running away.
she like does a shitty shadow box punch. No, it's much more the Shone and Labarm coming after me thing that has been knocking at our door.
Wait, Shown? Out of character?
Yeah, Shone, and she's just making reference to the short-term plans.
Oh,
And
you said Shown coming. I thought you said Shown and Labarum coming after me. I thought those are two
yeah,
different
Shone,
clauses.
comma. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
got it. Oxford comma, important. Always important.
Comma.
Kara's right. I did raise a death flag.
So
Constant dying would fuck up your plans so badly.
So yeah, I like I said, I just while I have you in front of me, needed the things to be said. Life happens fast. I think I heard that in a commercial.
Right. So, walking
Any
back
questions?
from it slightly. First thing, there may be terrifying Labarum super spies after you because of a strange gestalt related to conspiracy. Thing two, do you agree to the plans of fabricating a marriage? It would be the easiest way to start to make political moves.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Excellent. Don't worry, you can... Who knows how things will go, but it is not necessarily a position that you will be stuck in, especially if everything explodes, as we've discussed.
I just want to see Shone's reaction.
Yes. That man is a consummate bachelor. As honorable as he is, he has a hard time settling down. I've had to comfort him through many breakups. Regardless. Those are the most important things at hand, I believe. I suppose thing 3 is that we continue to figure out Shone's rescue.
And
From
thing
the
4.
position... Oh, no, wait. Thing 3 is we either collaborate with or oust Maldividend. I'd need to speak to them first. I can admire their gumption, I suppose. And they and I may not be too different from each other. Even
Did
if
you
personalities we sure are.
did you glaze over the whole "I think Labara might be specifically after you" thing?
No, that was thing one.
Oh yes. Okay.
Well, that was part of thing one. After both you and I may have just said you.
Dea just goes
I
back
should
and like
probably
corrects
be
in her
writing
note.
some of this down.
Dea is on the back of her shopping list.
Our nefarious plan on the back of a shopping list.
Yeah, I don't know why. My mind keeps going back to that day we picked up the ciabatta.
We'll get it again. It was good. I've completely lost my train of thought. Thing 4. Ah yes. Thing 3. Either work with or oust Maldivident. Thing 4. Rescue Shone. Thing 5. Work with Klaus. Thing 6. Get into a position where we can benefit from whatever chaos happens as the war continues. Thing 7. Benefit, I suppose. And by benefit, I of course mean do what we can to guide the world, but...
Sounds about right to me.
They nod and clap their hands and say, not like clap like this, but just do a little like, the like let's get down to work kind of clap, and says, what do they say? A simple undertaking then, and laugh.
Yeah, simple. By the way, you saw that that campaign Elamamas was doing on the TV?
Yes.
Can we block that channel?
You may have to take that up with some of the other members of the banner list. They are, as far as I'm aware, quite big fans of the MCL.
Maybe training is going to just turn into me beating the shit out of whoever was cheering. All right.
Oh no, from what I know, they want you to win. Well, most of them anyway.
Oh no, I'm well aware. There's just a couple I had my eye on. She just cracks her knuckles idly. Just a couple of them.
Well, you know that I'm a face person myself.
Like I said, irony abound. If there's any closing thoughts you think we should have, now would be the time. Otherwise,
If I think of them, I can come speak with you. It's not as if we are far apart.
I'm going to make like him party and leave on time. It's been a pleasure, Constant.
Likewise.
She stands up and shakes their hand, then pieces.
Hell yeah. What's your okay, two things. First thing, boy, Constant played back to back with Fleance last night has made me realize that Constant is what if Fleance grew up in fascism?
Yep.
Which makes them easier to play also, but is a fun and amusing realization to me. Thing 2, what's your how you feeling? Because I did have a thing in mind.
I'm good.
That hasn't come up yet.
We can go as long as you want.
Okay, I would like to go for a walk at some point. Oh, hold on, I gotta say Happy New Year. Oh, that was an hour ago. Shoot. Okay. Maybe this won't take too long. Let's skip to another song. So, what does Adea go do after this? Just out of curiosity.
Adea is going to go and try to She climbs into the cockpit of the Gestalt she was in when Leica got through to her, and just tries fruitlessly to get back in contact with PubFeed. But it doesn't work.
Yeah, no. Oh.
And then she congratulates herself on being able to bring her worries about PubFeed to the table with Constant, as if she's done the first half of what's going to be a hard apology, and then she thinks about who would win between Yeleni and Shone in a fist fight.
Oh my god.
And then that leads to her thinking about how much she would have to train Yeleni to have like a guaranteed win. And she starts thinking about like the spars and procedures that she'd put Yeleni through to like expedite it as much as possible, and goes back to the kidnapping mission and the
Okay.
flaws that she saw in Shone's combat. She's kind of just
Yeah.
keeping her mind off of things.
Alright, let's skip ahead slightly then. I was trying to not play Neo Tokyo music, but also I feel like this is most fitting right now. Tell me, what is the next time Adea leaves the compound and like goes out, like, and not just to like her boxing place, but like goes more out on the town, you know?
Adea, the next time she leaves the compound, it is to... Are there libraries here? How shitty is this shitty place?
That's a good question. I think there are libraries, but they're bad libraries. In that, like, a lot of the stuff there's not a lot of the good stuff. A lot of the history books are very propagandistic. A lot of the fiction is very ideologically specific.
Ooh, Ashton wants me. Maybe we do pause here.
Okay. Okay. Can you ask Ashton for like 10 more minutes? Because I'll just drop these two things and we can handle them in the mission then.
Great, okay, yeah.
What did you want Adea to go to the library for?
I want her to go to the library to learn as much as she can about House Theophrastus.
Okay.
Because she wants to impress Klaus when the time comes.
You know what? Give me a gather information roll.
Oh, poggers!
Let's roll some from Diggity Dice.
Oh my god, it has no action points. Alright.
I mean, you have 1 point in study, which is what this would be.
I sure do. Bada boom.
Oh my god, you have 4 in battle.
Kill things.
Alright, you get a 5. Okay. God, I wish I was in the state of mind where I could do some very funny, like state propaganda about House Theophrastus. Like, this is absolutely a book commissioned by House Theophrastus. Oh my god. It's probably, like, you probably pick up Lauto's biography. Like, autobiography. It says autobiography, it was probably ghostwritten. That man doesn't have time to write a book. Anyway, yeah, you pick that up, and that's a thing that you'll have to read. It's very, I haven't, like, 100%, like, wrapped my head around exactly what Lauto is like as a character, because I consider him a very, like, season 2, or I guess 3 at this point, villain, and I'm leaving him kind of up in the air to be like, what is the most interesting, like, personality character to, like, enter the fray.
I'm just thinking about Lord Genome.
I am also, to be honest, I have also been somewhat thinking about Lord Genome. I'm glad that you and I are still 14-year-olds at heart.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is a book about him. It's definitely very, like, weighty and over the top and very, like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. But also so humble, too. That would be the case no matter what, because also it is ghostwritten and they have a certain front to give off. Let's see. I mean, you learn about the kids. You learn about the Theophrastus children. You would learn about the history. You'll learn about the fact that, like, they're the ones that founded the nation of Haraeth. Let's see. You learn about their, like, there's a lot of stuff in here about, like, the power of technology and machinery. And how, like, despite the setbacks of the Peloton particle, every technological setback and limitation in history has only caused humanity to become even more creative, and that, like, House Theophrastus is on the cutting edge, of pushing towards a new future, etc., etc. Are there any, like, specific things that, like, you want to know? Otherwise, we can just say Adea knows what is on the faction sheet, etc.
I want to know some embarrassing shit about Klaus.
Oh, yeah, that's probably in here. I'm gonna leave that. You know what? Here, write down on your sheet that you have one hold, which is a PBTA thing, but we're doing it anyway. And that is one hold of embarrassing Klaus information, because you did get a partial success. And I will DM Stuart about that.
All right, it's done.
Okay, so on your way back out of the library with this book under your arm, are there trains in the city? I think there are trains. You were on the train, and it's probably the middle of the day or whatever. Like, it's not, so it's, like, fairly empty. Like, most people are out working, and this person is very professional. Something still gives them away. I think it's just... Adea has no points in channel, right? Adea is very an old type.
Yep.
Okay. You do have that relationship with Orson, though. It might be, like, a glint in the reflection when you are in the tunnel, like, so, like, when you're going through a tunnel,
Yeah.
and the, like, you can't see outside, and it's just the light bouncing off and, like, reflecting, and, like, you can see people, like, through the windows, etc. And you, like, through that reflection, make very brief eye contact with this person that was, like, accidental on their part, and you have, like, this realization in your gut that this person isn't reading. They are, like, I think this is also the thing, is you have 2 points in struggle. They are, like, androgynous and kind of slight, but you realize that actually that's only an effect that they're putting on, and they're wearing, like, a fairly, like, thick jacket that makes them look smaller through, like, how largely it encompasses them, if that makes sense. Like, they look almost snuggled into it. But they are sitting with the poise of someone who at any moment could, like, jump up at on the balls of their feet and stab someone in the throat with a pencil. And the two of you make eye contact, and they don't do the amateur thing of immediately looking away. They hold eye contact with you for a moment, and then, like, look away naturally. But and, like, it could be nothing. This could be you being paranoid, but at the same time, like, after this train ride for the rest of the day, you feel as if you're being watched and hunted. The second thing is when you get back to the base, Um. Does Constant send someone? No, I think for this, Constant would come to you themselves. You, like, come in through the door, like, probably, like... Would Adea carry an umbrella with her?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, shaking off your umbrella, probably. I like that. I like the shot of the water in the air, like, the droplets of the water in the air as, like, Constant, like, comes down the stairs, like, after hearing the, like, door open and close. There's probably like a little like ding or something. They hurry down and say, Adea,
Constant.
that gestalt you spoke to me about?
She blinks. Tainted Empire?
Well, I have already ingrained myself in certain circles within the city. There are certain people in power in my pocket with the resources that I still have. The point is that a pilotless gestalt was discovered on the outskirts of the city and taken by the what would the word be? 'Cause my brain goes to city guard because I've been reading fantasy novels recently. Because they're not the police, it's like a different thing. They're like the Stasi, but that's not what they're called by, like, and they wouldn't say secret police. Shit. I think they just say, by Killian's operatives. This is a secret. It's not, I didn't see this on the news, is what I mean. But based on the description, it appears that it is your talking Gestalt. We should probably do something about this.
Adea like puts her tongue like up between her her upper teeth and her lip with her mouth still closed, and she thinks for a second, and then she walks 15 steps to the side and gets an assault rifle off the wall and walks back over to Constant and says, "Yep. Let me know when you're ready."
I think that's where we cut.
Perfect.
That was a realization I had eating dinner today. I'm like, wait a second, Orson's going to go find Adea, but Orson doesn't know how society works.
Nope.
And would totally just walk to where she is. So
Great.
Just like this shot of like Orson is walking down a highway. All right, EXP time. Squad XP. Excuse successful battle delivery rescue operation. No. Face off against challenges of pay grade. No. Build your squad's reputation or develop a new one. Yes!
Pogger.
What's the goals in a conflict essentially of the squad? No, because you didn't talk to any other squad members. But you did bolster your squad's reputation and develop a new one.
Sure did.
Adea now.
It's not in the weird place anymore.
Yep. Address the challenge of violence or coercion. No. You expressed your history, tragedy, open. Yes, extremely. I'm giving you 2 XP. Did you struggle because any of your belief scars or quirks?
Yeah, she's having a real hard time just with her relationship to PubFeed.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, Adea hasn't been on screen a lot, hasn't gotten the chance to get a lot of XP, so there you go. That's 3 XP for you.
Great.
Man, I'm looking forward to next session.
It's gonna be good. 2 days.
Oh, did you kick Craig? That's fine.
Yeah, Alistair is bye-bye.
Oh, sorry, Alistair, right.
Alright,
Yeah,
bye-bye.
okay, peace. Happy New Year. It's midnight over there, right?
Yeah, it's 12:30 now. Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, talk to you later.
Yeah, go get more drunk.
I'm gonna go for a walk. Bye. Hope you two listening in enjoyed that.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
I
Eliza
had
and
that.
Klaus. Eliza and Klaus get to talk.
Adea.
Sorry.
I was gonna say this to Eric, but he just left and it's gone. I had that realization about the marriage thing, like literally as like that scene were happening. That was not a thing I pre-planned. It's just a thing that hit me. I love actual play and the things that can come out of it. I did not go into the session expecting a day of von Amberlow.
It was funny.
Okay, I'm gonna go for my walk now. Goodbye. Happy New Year to you two as well. I would say you three, but Peter is deafened, so.
The new year of happy.